My name is Olivia Carter. I'm 26 years old. I grew up in a small town in Ohio. My mother raised me alone. She worked 2 jobs, but she always smiled when she came home. She told me that kindness was more valuable than money. People often asked me about my father. I always gave the same answer. I don't know him. That was true. I had never met him. I had never heard his voice. I had never celebrated a birthday with him. He was only a name on an old piece of paper that my mother kept inside a wooden box. Before she passed away, she held my hand in the hospital. "Olivia," she whispered, "don't hate your father." I cried and asked, "Why wasn't he with us?" She closed her eyes for a moment. "He never knew about you." Those words stayed in my heart. She gave me the wooden box. "When the time is right, you'll understand." A week later, I buried the only parent I had ever known. Life became very quiet after that. For months, I worked at a small coffee shop. It paid the bills, but I wanted something better. My mother had always believed in my dreams. I wanted to make her proud. One morning, I saw a job posting online. Stonewell Industries was looking for an executive assistant. It was one of the biggest companies in Chicago. I almost laughed. There is no way they'll hire me. Still, I sent my resume. A week later, my phone rang. "Hello, this is Stonewell Industries. We'd like to invite you for an interview." I nearly dropped my coffee. The interview went better than I expected. I answered every question honestly. I talked about hard work, responsibility, and learning from mistakes. 3 days later, I received another call. "Congratulations, Miss Carter. Welcome to Stonewell Industries." I stood in my tiny apartment and cried. For the first time since my mother's death, I felt hope. On my first day, I wore the navy blue suit my mother had bought for my college graduation. She had smiled and said, "One day you'll wear this to your dream job." She was right. The company building was taller than anything I had ever seen. The glass walls reflected the morning sun. Inside, everything looked perfect. People walked quickly through the hallways. Phones rang. Computers clicked. Everyone seemed busy. Human Resources introduced me to my new team. Everyone smiled politely. Everyone except one woman. Her name was Vanessa Reed. She looked at me for a second before turning away. "So you're the new assistant," she said. "Yes." "Good luck." Her smile disappeared as quickly as it came. I wasn't sure what she meant. A few minutes later, my manager approached me. "The CEO wants to meet you." My heart started racing. The CEO? Don't worry, he meets every new employee. I followed him to the top floor. The office doors opened. The room was quiet. A man stood by the large window, looking over the city. He turned around. He looked to be in his early 50s. His dark hair showed a little gray. His suit was perfectly pressed. His eyes were calm, but they carried years of sadness. He held out his hand. "I'm Michael Stone." I shook it. "It's nice to meet you, sir." For one strange second, I felt something I couldn't explain. His eyes looked familiar. His smile, though small, reminded me of someone. Then I remembered. The old photograph inside my mother's wooden box. The young man standing beside my mother had the same eyes, the same smile, the same face. My heart stopped. I forced myself to stay calm. He looked at my employee file. "Olivia Carter," he read. "Yes, sir. Welcome to Stonewell Industries. I hope you'll enjoy working here." "Thank you." He smiled politely. To him, I was just another employee. He had no idea that I was staring at the man my mother had loved many years ago. The man whose last name was written inside the wooden box. The man who was my father. I walked out of his office with shaking hands. Inside my purse was the small wooden box my mother had given me. I wanted to open it. I wanted to tell him everything, but I remembered my mother's final words. "When the time is right." I took a deep breath. For now, I would keep my secret. I just didn't know how long my heart could carry it. The days passed faster than I expected. Every morning, I arrived at Stonewell Industries before 8 o'clock. I organized meetings, answered emails, prepared reports, and made sure everything was ready before Mr. Stone arrived. He was always on time. "Good morning, Olivia." "Good morning, sir." That was how every day began. At first, he seemed cold. He spoke very little and rarely smiled. Many employees were afraid of him, but after a few weeks, I noticed something different. He was not a cruel man. He simply carried too much responsibility. One afternoon, I saw him stay late to help an older employee finish an important report. Another day, I watched him quietly pay for surgery for an employee's little son. He told the human resources manager not to tell anyone. "People don't need to know every good thing we do," he said. Those words sounded exactly like my mother. She used to tell me, "Kindness is strongest when nobody is watching." Every time he spoke, I wondered if my mother had learned that lesson from him, or if they had simply shared the same heart. Sometimes I wanted to ask him questions. Did he remember my mother? Did he ever think about the woman named Emma Carter? Did he know she had disappeared from his life without saying goodbye? But I stayed silent. The wooden box remained inside my apartment closet. I looked at it almost every night. I still wasn't ready to open it. One Friday afternoon, Mr. Stone asked me to stay after work. "I need your help with an important presentation." "Of course, sir." For 3 hours we worked together in his office. He looked tired. I placed a cup of coffee beside him. "You should take a short break." He looked surprised. "I usually forget to eat when I'm busy." I noticed. A small smile appeared on his face. "Thank you, Olivia." It was the first real smile I had seen from him. For a moment, he didn't look like the powerful CEO. He looked lonely. As I gathered the papers, a photo frame on his desk caught my attention. It showed a younger Michael Stone standing beside an older couple. There was no wife, no children, no family vacation pictures, nothing. My chest felt heavy. Had he really spent all these years alone? Just as I was about to leave, he spoke. "You remind me of someone." I froze. "Really?" He looked out the window. "Someone I knew a very long time ago." My heart pounded. "Who was she?" He was quiet for several seconds. Her name was Emma. I almost stopped breathing. I was young, he continued. I loved her very much. I couldn't move. What happened? I whispered. I don't know. His voice became softer. One day, she disappeared. I searched everywhere, but she was gone. He gave a sad smile. I never saw her again. Tears filled my eyes. He had searched for her. My mother had told me he never knew. She had been telling the truth. Before I could say anything, someone knocked on the door. It was Vanessa Reed. I'm sorry to interrupt, she said, but the finance reports need your signature. Mr. Stone nodded. I'll be there in a minute. Vanessa glanced at me. Her eyes were cold. As we walked into the hallway together, she folded her arms. You seem very comfortable in the CEO's office. I was helping with the presentation. Is that what you're calling it? I don't understand. She stepped closer. People who get close to Michael Stone don't stay here very long. Her words sent a chill through me. I only do my job. We'll see. She walked away before I could answer. From that day on, strange things began to happen. Important emails disappeared before reaching my inbox. Meeting times were changed without anyone telling me. Files went missing from my desk. Each mistake made me look careless. I apologized again and again. Mr. Stone never raised his voice, but I could see the disappointment in his eyes. One morning, a contract for $1 million client disappeared. Everyone searched the office. It was nowhere. Vanessa crossed her arms. I gave it to Olivia yesterday. Every head turned toward me. I never received it. Vanessa shook her head. Are you saying I'm lying? I don't know what happened. The conference room became silent. Mr. Stone looked at me. His expression was calm but serious. Olivia, this company depends on trust. I know, sir. Find the contract. I will. You have until the end of the day. My hands were shaking. I had done nothing wrong. But for the first time since joining the company, my own father looked at me as if I had failed him. And he still had no idea that the woman standing in front of him was his daughter. I checked every drawer. I looked through every file cabinet. The missing contract was nowhere. My hands would not stop shaking. This can't be happening, I whispered. I had never lost an important document in my life. By lunchtime, everyone in the office knew about the missing contract. Some coworkers avoided looking at me. Others whispered when I walked by. I could feel their eyes following me. Vanessa walked past my desk with a small smile. I hope you find it. Her voice sounded kind, but her eyes said something different. For the first time, I wondered if she wanted me to fail. At 3:00, Mr. Stone called me into his office. He stood beside the window with his hands behind his back. Did you find the contract? I lowered my head. No, sir. He closed his eyes for a moment. This mistake has already cost the company an important client. I'm so sorry. Sorry won't bring the client back. His words hurt more than I expected. I understand. He took a deep breath. I believed you were one of my most reliable employees. Tears filled my eyes. I am. Then explain what happened. I can't. Because I truly didn't know. He looked disappointed. I have no choice. My heart stopped. I'm placing you on unpaid leave while we investigate. The room became silent. I understand. I turned toward the door. Every step felt heavier than the last. Just before I reached the hallway, I heard him speak again. Olivia! I looked back. I'm disappointed. Those two words broke something inside me. Not because my boss had said them, because my father had. Even though he didn't know it. I walked out of the building with tears running down my face. That night, I sat alone in my apartment. The wooden box rested on my lap. For months, I had been afraid to open it. Tonight, I couldn't wait any longer. My mother's voice echoed in my mind. When the time is right. Maybe. This was the time. With trembling hands, I lifted the old lid. Inside were only a few things. A faded photograph, a silver necklace with a tiny heart, several letters tied together with a blue ribbon, and one sealed envelope. Across the front, in my mother's handwriting, were 6 words. For Michael, if we ever meet. I stared at the envelope for a long time. Then I carefully opened it. Inside was a letter. Dear Michael, if you are reading this, life has given us one last chance. I never stopped loving you. The day I left wasn't my choice. My father threatened to destroy your future if I stayed with you. He believed you were too poor and would never become successful. When I discovered I was pregnant, I wanted to tell you. But my family moved me across the country. They took away every letter I wrote. They even changed my phone number. I spent years trying to find you. When I finally did, I learned you had become a successful businessman. By then, I was sick. I didn't want to appear in your life asking for help. So I raised our daughter alone. Please don't blame yourself. You never abandoned us. You simply never knew. Her name is Olivia. She has your kind heart. If you ever meet her, please love her enough for both of us. I couldn't hold back my tears. My mother had protected him until the very end. She had never spoken with anger. Only love. The next morning, my phone rang. It was Ethan Brooks, the company's IT manager. Olivia, I need to see you. His voice sounded urgent. We met at a small cafe near the office. He placed a flash drive on the table. I was checking the security cameras because of the missing contract. My heart began to race. What did you find? He looked around before speaking. The contract wasn't lost. I leaned forward. What do you mean? I saw Vanessa enter your office after everyone left. He swallowed. She took the contract from your desk. I stared at him. Are you sure? I watched the video 3 times. My hands tightened around the coffee cup. Why would she do that? Ethan sighed. She deleted part of the security recording. But she forgot the backup server saves everything. Everything suddenly made sense. The missing emails, the changed meeting times, the disappearing files. Vanessa had planned everything. Ethan looked at the envelope in my hands. What's that? I looked down at my mother's letter. My whole life, for months, I had promised myself that I would wait. I would stay silent. I would protect my mother's secret. But now I understood something. The truth wasn't destroying my family. The lies were. I stood up. Holding the letter close to my heart, I looked toward the tall Stonewell building across the street. It was time to clear my name. And it was finally time to tell my father who I really was. I walked into Stonewell Industries with my head held high. For the first time since I started working there, I was not afraid. I had the truth. Ethan walked beside me, carrying his laptop. "We're ready," he said. We went straight to the executive conference room. Mr. Stone was already there with the senior managers. Vanessa sat at the end of the table. She looked confident. When she saw me, she frowned. "Why is she here?" she asked. Before anyone answered, Ethan connected his laptop to the large screen. "I have something everyone needs to see." The room became quiet. The security video began to play. Everyone watched as Vanessa entered my office late at night. She looked around to make sure no one was watching. Then she opened my desk drawer, took the missing contract, and placed it inside her own bag. The room fell silent. Vanessa's face turned pale. That's fake!" she shouted. Ethan calmly spoke. "It came from the company's backup server. It cannot be changed." Another video appeared. It showed Vanessa deleting emails from my account. Then another. She changed meeting times without telling me. One by one, every lie was exposed. Mr. Stone slowly turned toward her. "Is this true?" Vanessa's eyes filled with panic. I... She couldn't finish her sentence. Security entered the room a few minutes later. As they escorted her out, she looked at me with anger. "This should have been my promotion!" she screamed. "You ruined everything!" I quietly answered, "No, Vanessa. You ruined it yourself." The door closed behind her. The room was silent again. Mr. Stone walked toward me. "I'm sorry, Olivia." His voice was heavy with regret. "I should have trusted you." I nodded. "Thank you." Everyone began leaving the conference room, giving us privacy. Soon, only the two of us remained. I reached into my bag. "There is one more thing you need to see." I placed the old wooden box on the table. He looked confused. "What is this?" It belonged to my mother. He slowly opened it. His hands froze when he saw the faded photograph. He picked it up carefully. His eyes grew wide. "Emma!" He whispered her name as if he had spoken it 1,000 times in his heart. His hands began to shake. "Where did you get this?" I placed the letter beside the photograph. "Please read it." The room was completely quiet. I watched every emotion cross his face. Confusion, hope, fear, then heartbreak. As he reached the last page, tears rolled down his cheeks. He covered his mouth with one hand. "No." He looked up at me. "Olivia." I nodded slowly. "My name is Olivia Carter." He stared at me. My mother was Emma Carter. He could barely breathe. I never knew. I know. I searched for her. I know. I never stopped loving her. I know. His shoulders shook as he cried. I didn't know she was carrying our baby. You weren't supposed to know. He sat down slowly, holding the letter against his chest. I missed your first step. I stayed silent. Your first day of school. I looked away. Your birthdays. Tears filled my own eyes. I wasn't there when you needed a father. His voice broke. I failed you. I walked closer. No. He looked at me. You didn't fail me. He frowned. You were never given the chance. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then he asked the question I had waited my whole life to hear. Can you ever forgive me? I thought about all the lonely birthdays, the school events where every child had a father except me, the nights my mother cried when she thought I was asleep, the years we struggled to pay rent, the empty chair at every graduation. None of that could be erased. But I also remembered my mother's final words. Don't hate your father. She had known the truth before I did. She had already forgiven him. I stepped forward and wrapped my arms around him. For a moment, he didn't move. Then he hugged me back. His shoulders shook with quiet tears. I'm so sorry, he whispered again and again. I closed my eyes. I know. That was enough. Months passed. Life slowly changed. I returned to work, but now people looked at me with respect instead of doubt. Mr. Stone never treated me differently in the office. Outside work, however, we began building something we had both missed for 26 years. We had dinner together every Sunday. He asked about my childhood. I asked about his dreams. Sometimes we laughed. Sometimes we cried. We visited my mother's grave together on a warm spring afternoon. He placed fresh white lilies beside her headstone. Then he whispered softly, I finally found our daughter. I smiled through my tears. I think Mom already knew you would. As we walked away, I looked up at the blue sky. For years, I believed I had grown up without a father. The truth was different. I had grown up with a father who had been searching for us while we were searching for him. Life had stolen many years from us, but it could not steal the future, because I learned that the strongest families are not the ones without pain. They are the ones brave enough to choose love after the truth is finally revealed.